let's start with me. My name is David Irambona, and pretty much I have been very, very honored to be able to start a basically it's a community kind of program or community project where I'm trying to get entrepreneurs and leaders from across Africa to be trained, to be coached, and to kind of create a community around that. And so this podcast is pretty much what is the beginning of some of that. We've done already some online seminars, and we're actually launching in Tanzania first. That is the awesome thing about this. We're launching in Tanzania first, but then we'll pretty much go across all over Africa. But for now, let's just have the African conversation right here, right now. But the community at the moment, it's in Tanzania. But yeah, so I've been honored to do that. It's been a dream of mine for the last 2 years, and it took a while for me to kind of just get started. And there was so many things around that kind of delayed what that process was. But I'm excited to actually even be here. A little bit more about myself. I'm married. I've got a beautiful wife. Her name is Etida. I'm personally from Burundi, and my wife is from Zimbabwe. And we are going to be creating some Pan-African children. So that they're going to be confused as to where they really fit in. But truly, I love my Pan-African friends who truly believe that a united Africa would be a very huge benefit. So my children are going to feel like the OG Pan-Africans because they're not either Burundian or Zimbabwean. They're just African, which is amazing. So I'm from Burundi, grew up in Tanzania in a refugee camp. So I'm a ex-refugee, born in Burundi, pretty much grew up in the refugee camp in Tanzania. But then my family came over to Australia, and that's where I'm based. In Australia, I've been here for over 20 years, and I'm so excited to be living in this country, but also my heart is still back at home. I came here as a little 8-year-old, but for some reason, my heart is stirred for the continent of Africa in many, many different ways, whether it's through my faith or whether it's just business and all of that. The other question I'll probably answer you is, why me? That's a question that I ask myself as well. Now, I have been in business for the last 10 years. And one of the reasons why it's taken me 2 years to be able to even be here is because I wondered to myself, who am I to even start this conversation? Who am I to start this? I've had so many failed businesses, and that's just the reality of my journey the past 10 years. I've had so many failed businesses. I've learned so much. And one thing I learned is that, I think I might have a little bit of credibility, even in the fact that I've kind of failed in so many areas, that I'm able to talk to the person who is where I am and be like, hey, this is the way to go. I made that mistake and this was the result. And so I think until I got myself to a place where I'm like, I do have a little bit of credibility. I don't think I am well adversed. I don't think there's certain conversation I could probably have. I can't talk to millionaire businesses at this current stage. But I can kind of walk the journey to everybody who has been where I am, or even some of the principles that I've learned along the way. And here's the truth. Even in doing this right now, even in my future business ventures, I'm continuously learning. And one thing I remember about myself growing up is that I've always started something before I was really good at it. And I think that's one of the things that got me into business in the first place. I would say, hey, let me do your website. And I didn't even know how to use WordPress or anything, but I just went for it and did it. And I surprised myself. That's the amazing thing about the human mind, is that you surprise yourself if you give it a go. Some of the things that you may have delayed doing may be because, you've got limiting beliefs that are there, but see what happens when you give it a go. See what happens. And that's what happened with me. So I just started doing something, and then I found out, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this. One perfect example in my life has been how I have been a gap filler in the church world. So I'm a Christian. I grew up in church, and I've managed to learn every single instrument. But it wasn't because I am this talented person, but every single time there'll be a gap that needs to be filled, I'll put up my hand. And then the moment I just sat down at that instrument or done whatever that thing was, I surprised myself. I surprised myself that I could actually do it, or I had a bit of rhythm, or I had a bit of understanding somewhere. Oh my goodness, maybe if I took a few more lessons with this, I might actually be okay and actually serve this church. So that's how I managed to really do everything that I've done up to this point. And so even with ImagineX, it's not that I am the most qualified person to be able to start a movement like I have started. But here's the thing: I've done a few seminars for ImagineX to this point. I've had people joining with these seminars who are already running amazing businesses, who are already running amazing NGOs and organizations, and I look at the Zoom meeting and I'm like, you guys could probably teach me one or two things. But I spoke to one of my pastors about it, and then he said, you know what, David, you're the one who invited them to that platform. So doesn't matter whether they could teach you one or two. You started this, so go on and teach. So that's what I did, and even right now, that's what I'm doing. I think I might be the least qualified, but here we are. I am giving it a go, and I do surprise myself sometimes. Maybe I have one or two things to say. So yeah, that's pretty much a little bit about me.